Hi and welcome. I'm Jennifer with Hopeful Homemaker and welcome back to my series of videos on applique. Today in this video we are going to be learning about how to use the thread basting method to prepare and attach your shapes to your project. The specific shapes that I'm using in this video come from my Soda Pop Blossom Quilt pattern. You can find the link to the pattern and other videos in the series below, and I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome back for more applique. This time we're going to be thread basting our shapes. I'm taking my first shape and I am tracing it in pencil on the wrong or back side of my fabric. Now I need to cut it out, and I'm going to cut it out by cutting 1/8 of an inch outside of the shape that I just traced. So I'm cutting out my shape with a 1/8 inch seam allowance around the entire thing. Once I've got that all cut out, I'm going to be thread basting it to my shape. So you can see I've got my shape inside the line. Here's another example of one that I already did, and you can see that small 1/8 of an inch. Next up, you're going to center your piece on whatever fabric you're going to applique it to and pin it in place. I like using applique pins. They're much shorter than regular pins and you don't poke yourself nearly as much. Next, thread a needle. This thread is going to be thrown away, so it doesn't matter what color it is. And now I'm going to make a running stitch going around the entire shape 1/4 of an inch inside of my cut line. When I start my shape, I am not going to tie a knot. I'm actually going to leave a tail about 1 inch long. When I get to the corner, I'm just going to carefully put my needle in the corner and go right around the corner and keep going all the way around my shape. When I get to the end of my thread and it's close to running out, I'm not going to tie a knot. I'm just going to pull it through and remove the needle, and I'm going to have a little piece hanging. Then I will rethread my needle and start with another one, again leaving a tail about 1 inch long. This allows for easy removal of my basting stitch later after I've appliqued it down. Then I will complete my shape by going all the way around, and when I get to where I originally started, again I will cut the thread leaving about 1 inch. Now I will have a shape that is basted to my applique background that makes it so that it can't shift and it won't move around while I'm sewing. I'm going to do the same thing here, where you can see that I've already sewn down one piece, and now I'm going to layer my next petals on top of it. So again, I'm going to carefully place here and pin again. This is especially a case where my applique pins will be so helpful because I'm going to have a lot of bulk in the fabric in my hand, since I'm appliquing this into the middle of a table runner that I've already sewn together. So once I have it all pinned together, I have again a basting stitch, and I'm starting at the end of my shape because I'm not going to be stitching that end closed. If I were starting in any other place, I would be starting on a gentle curve, like where my needle is at right now at this point in the video. I should also make a note here in this basting that I am left-handed, so you can see that in my stitching I am going left to right. If you're right-handed, you're going to go right to left. So you would be starting on the opposite side of the shape on the far right side, and you would be doing the same stitching from right to left, going all the way around, being careful in the valleys. And mostly the key here is to create a 1/4 inch consistent seam allowance around the entire shape. Now what's going to happen when we do sew it down is we're going to be folding under the edge of our fabric, and that edge will fold under and meet your basted line. So if you keep your basting stitch consistent, then that means your fabric allowance will also be consistent, because your folded under raw edge of your shape won't be able to go any farther than that basting stitch. And so you're helping yourself to have a better chance at a nice clean shape later. And so this basting stitch will provide a buffer for your raw edge as it gets folded under to keep a consistent seam allowance for you and allow you to stitch. So you can see I'm almost all the way around my shape. Often I'll end up removing pins as I go and just making them smaller. My stitches are about 1/4 of an inch wide or long, but around small tight corners sometimes you have to make a little bit smaller. Again, the key is to try to keep a gentle curve going all the way around. When I get to the end of my shape, I'm going to just leave my thread without a knot, and you can see what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting my stem down inside that spot. So I'm going to leave it, and I'm just going to leave a tail there, and I'm going to cut it. And now it is almost ready to baste. Now, because I have convex curves on this, I need to snip my fabric just like I did on the thread basting. So you can see that I'm taking my scissors and I'm cutting inside there, but I'm only cutting to just before 1/8 of an inch line because I don't want to cut into my seam allowance. So I'm going to cut there less than 1/8 of an inch in, and then now I'm ready to go. So once I've done that on all of the convex curves, then you can see I'm ready to sew. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe for more content and check out the links to see the other videos in this series about hand applique, including how to use a freezer paper and starch method, how to make your own bias tape, how to actually do the applique stitch, and how to layer your shapes.